Hello and welcome to Positive Talk. Today we are coming to you from the Miku's Hotel, where women are gathered from all walks of life. We're looking at the business sector, we're looking at the development sector, and we're celebrating International Women's Day, where we're saying March, it's Women's Month. And today, with all women here, we are saying be bold for change. And every woman who's here, every woman who's at home is being bold for change. What change are we looking at? We are looking at women being respected. We are looking at women occupying those powerful positions. So today we're going to be hearing from different women who are going to be telling us what do they value about themselves and what makes them stand out as women in their day-to-day life. We're going to be enjoying, we're going to be having entertainment. So sit back, relax and enjoy. That's Captain Tipo Matimba. Welcome to Positive Talk.
Thank you very much, Tariro.
We want to find out International Women's Day, what does it mean to you?
For me, International Women's Day symbolizes the celebration of women across the globe. Women are individuals who can manage and tackle both the home front and the work front. And as such, I think we deserve some form of celebration.
Kwandiri Women's International Day inoreva kuti qualify kuti ama-international titori Hollywood patiri panape vanhu vomuZimbabwe sati zvokutikwidza bp titori pama-international issues titori international. What else? What can you say?
This one is crazy. I actually think that International Women's Day is a day that we celebrate women, Vakadzi, who have gone through struggles and all the crazy series of life. We as women, we have gone through a lot, we've experienced a lot of pain, but we have conquered, we have survived. That's why we're here today. So we celebrate and we honor this day today because it's one of the most amazing, important days of our lives as women.
Well, I think that International Women's Day is such a special time. It's for women to come out, to be bold, to talk about themselves, to talk about their needs, their challenges, to come together. And I think an event like this is a perfect opportunity for people to come and network and just be together. So it's a wonderful time.
I think International Women's Day is one of those days that has to be there. Women do so many things and sometimes are forgotten. So whilst we may be here with our fascinators and our high-heeled shoes, I think today is for all the women that are not celebrated. You know, we celebrate women throughout the month of March, so I'm thinking about all of the other women that we don't necessarily get to hear about, the unsung heroes, the ones who've raised, you know, children in the rural areas in the most difficult of circumstances, and those are the women that I think I would like to celebrate today.
TV is just about women empowerment, women can do it, and with the theme be bold for change, I'm geared for change in 2017. And I'd like to appeal to all the women to just change their mentality. We can all do it, so let's go for it, girls.
I think it's so obvious. That is the one day in a year that focuses on just celebrating what we do as women, whether it's in our private spaces, whether it is mothers, as daughters, and obviously in the workplace. So International Women's Day is very, very special for that reason.
Oh, it means a lot to me, especially because I'm a woman. You know, women with power, it's so much, you know. For myself, I can speak for myself, knowing that as a woman made by God, as a helper to the husband, you know, a husband cannot do anything without a wife. Yes. So I know that I'm powerful and I've got a great responsibility as a woman, especially to the nation, to my family, and also to the relatives around.
I'm sure for the girl child who's watching it at home and who's always inspired by just looking at you, the journey that you walked, what message can you give them, particularly to them, how do you break the syndicate?
I would like to say to young women, be bold, take up the gauntlet. Do not be afraid to venture in areas that you think are just stereotyped for men, or you know, you just don't limit yourself.
Remember, the sky is the ceiling, and it only takes one person to break through, and avenues open for everybody.
And when they face challenges, how has been the journey for you? I'm sure they want to find out.
Well, no journey is worth celebrating unless you've crossed hurdles and have a story to tell. Life is not really meant to be smooth sailing. You always face turbulence, winds, crosswinds. So I would just urge the young ladies to just soldier on and try to tackle any challenges that they meet along the way.
Inini kune munhukadzi, I just want to say, you know what, vakadzi, don't give up in life. No matter the situation, no matter what you go through, don't give up in life. There is a brighter future ahead. Hakuna kaitwa signature yekuti she's the one or she's the one who's going to make it. No, we are all conquerors. We are all conquerors. And you know what? The more we work on step by step. Hallelujah.
Tyra, your message.
Never give up. There's always an option. There's always something that you can do. There's things you can learn from. There's an older sister. There's an older aunt. There's somebody in the community. There's never a time when you'd want to give up.
They're not alone, and that as we gather in events like this, we are thinking about how we can influence and positively impact everyone and all of their lives in the various aspects where we do have influence. So I think today is a great time for us to network, talk about issues that relate to women, and see what we can do today to boldly change the way that we live our lives in the future.
What I can say to young girls is that they have to start thinking about their future today. Because if you leave it too late, that's when you then do not have anything to look forward to. I think it's important for them to always think that when I grow up, what do I want to be? I remember when we were growing up, we didn't have as, broad the number of choices that our children today have. So you were going to be a teacher, a nurse, a doctor. The professions were limited. Sometimes someone would say, but I think our kids are so blessed because they have all these opportunities ahead of them. And not only that, they don't have to think of themselves as workers the way we used to do. They can think of themselves as owners of businesses. So they have to dream big. They have to reach for the stars. Because if you are aiming for the stars, then it means you can achieve so much more.
Well, I'm sure you've enjoyed hearing from the different women. What really does International Women's Day mean to them? Yes, it's just one day, but it's a day that has been set aside to celebrate women. And we're saying be bold for change. And I'm sure if you heard from the voices, you can see that women are being bold for change. Join us after the break. Welcome back as we continue with our celebrations of International Women's Day, where we are having this high tea, and we have eminent women from all walks of life coming here just to celebrate the role that women play in our day-to-day lives. And really, if we're going to be challenging you and saying, just imagine the day or a day where you have no woman in your life, how is it going to look like? I'm sure with a lot of us, you'll be so confused to then say what's coming up next, even within the home setting. So for now, let's go into the high tea and hear from the eminent speakers that have been invited to be talking and sharing their key messages with women who are attending. And I'm sure they're just not sharing the messages with women who are here, but even for us who are at home, this message is for us. Enjoy.
In this year's commemoration of International Women's Day, there is a large number of women and girls aspiring to be us one day. Even in this room, there are young women aspiring to be Mai Chingandu. We have a responsibility to ensure that they do not live in this make-believe empowerment world that we have created. It is important for us to analyze empowerment of women in our world today, because the future generations must build on our accomplishments. If girls cannot benefit from their mother's empowerment, then this empowerment has very little promise for the future. Therefore, what should true empowerment look like for women like us who have ticked the usual boxes of education, economic empowerment, and yet are still far from achieving that ideal world in which men and women are truly equal? We need to rethink what women's empowerment has become versus what we wanted it to be. The battle is far from being won. We need to use our education and resources to invest in research and work on what is it going to take to empower women and why. President Chisano said at the AU, empowering women is key to economic wealth. Women and girls are an untapped resource. And it's they, not diamonds, that will be the foundation for solid, sustainable, equitable progress. This is true, but at what cost for women? So men are saying, women don't know what they want. They say they have given us everything. I ask, what is this everything? Maternity leave for women is still 3 months. Girls still have no sanitary wear. Only a few women have become presidents. In the workplace, in politics, within the church, when we hit a ceiling, we still find a layer of men waiting to take us down. So change is needed. Men need to believe in women's empowerment, and they need to understand that empowerment means sharing power, sharing the load, and sharing the benefits. It's about equity and shared responsibility. As women take more responsibilities at home, men must also move towards what was considered to be men's responsibilities, women's responsibilities, without feeling they are lesser men. This can only happen when we start sitting with men at the table and discuss openly what the triple shift is doing to women and how it is hurting women and children's health and mental development. This dialogue on gender equality and gender equity cannot happen with and among women alone. Patriarchal tools that inherently continue to be used to disadvantage women, the women giants sitting in this room today, need to be dismantled by men and women together. Internalized patriarchy that also infests women. And I'm talking about women who also think, for whatever reason, the triple shift is okay. Gender-based violence is okay. Men having multiple partners is okay. Women who abuse other women. Women who continue to vote for men, even if there is a qualifying female candidate. This needs to be dismantled. We need to be bold for change. Lastly, SAFEIDS, with support from our funding partners, some of them sitting here, we work to transform gender norms and beliefs of adolescent girls and young women, and boys and young men as well, to understand that gender equality and gender equity are critical components of development. Our Leadership Academy is training young women to be leaders for tomorrow. Today, I will call on you as mothers, sisters, mother-in-laws, whatever you want to call yourself. Refuse to be that woman who pushes for illusionary gender empowerment. Push for a world in which men and women can live together as partners that share fruits of democracy equally. Be bold for change and enjoy Women's Month.
Today, as we celebrate each other as women, and we are being bold, we have a story to tell as women. We have a lot of stories to tell as women, but we don't really understand. Some of us don't really understand who we are and what makes us who we are. So today I'll talk about personal branding. I know a lot of you think personal branding is for products, but you're a brand. Do you know that you're a brand? You're a brand, you. Each one of us is unique. You are made and designed in a certain way. You are the CEO of your life. Mamtas is the CEO of Tel1, but she's also the CEO of Chipomtas. What she does,
whatever she thinks about really portrays the person that she is. If you understand your passion, do we all understand our passion? Do you know what passion is? What is it that wakes you up at night and you think, if I got a $1 million, this is what I'll do? That's your passion. Do we understand our passion as women? And do we have a vision for our life? What I've discovered with most of my clients that I talk to is that, especially in the black culture and as women, we don't set out and intentionally write a plan about our life. Ladies, show of hands, who has a plan, a 2-year plan for their life? A 5-year plan? A 10-year plan? Well done, ma'am. It's very, very important. It's very important, ladies, that we look into ourselves and that we plan our lives. Because when life happens, we should be able to rise above. We should be able to really get into our inner self and say, this is what I plan to do. This is who I am. So in planning our lives, we need to understand, what is my voice? What is the voice that I want to put across? Your voice has to be consistent and has to be clear. So if I'm at my mother-in-law's house, they must know me as the loud Nyenge. That's what I am. A fun Nyenge. Happy Nyenge. Go-getter Nyenge. I shouldn't be two different people. I shouldn't be a schizophrenic. And most women, what we've discovered, I like that. And I'm so happy that Lois has started this with the young girls. So by the time they become women, they understand who they are. Most of us are living a double life. We've never taken time to understand who we are. And who you are is not somebody else. You need to understand what makes you happy. What are your value system? Because if you don't have your value system, guess what you're going to do? You float through life like the wind. So when the new craze comes and everybody goes bold, we all go bold. Because you feel that's the craze. Do it because it goes with your personality and because you like it. Don't do it because you want to fit in. One thing I've realized is that once we understand who we are, once you know what your brand stands for, what you've really dug in and know what you stand for, what your vision, what your values are, what your voice is, what your voice stands for, you're a better friend, you're a better sister, you're a better mother, you're a better wife. Because you know what you stand for. You're able to tell your husband that we were talking about, that Lois was talking about earlier on, that, hi honey, I'm so exhausted. I hope you can start taking care of dinner. We have to move to that because we are all working. And because I understand who I am. And my husband, I have clarified my brand to my husband. The problem that most of my clients have is that they don't clarify their brand to their husband. They pretend to be someone else. We don't want to shake the status quo because we believe that you're a bad wife when you do that, or you're a bad person. So I want you to remember that as sisters, we need to look up to each other. We need to help each other discover that point, that position, that thing that makes us come alive. As women, we tend to be too judgmental. We judge each other. We might come here today and sit and talk, but as soon as we walk out, we are pointing. Did you see what she was wearing? How dare she with that figure? Did she? And it's inherent in women. But once women understand who they are, once you understand that in my voluptuousness, I'm a woman. In my no hips, I'm a woman. As long as we understand who you are, as long as you understand who you are, guess what? No one here is a threat to you. No one here is competing with you. We are all complementing each other to become better.
to become better. So as we stand up and being bold for change, we need to start mentoring our young sisters, our young girls, especially us mothers with daughters. We need to mentor our cousins. We need to mentor these young girls who have been brought up to think that they have to think in a certain way to be a woman. They can't challenge the status quo.
Inspired and motivated I've been, and I'm sure for you just listening to these powerful women, yes, you have been motivated. Join us after the break. Celebration would be a celebration without some bit of music. So this segment we're going to start off with some bit of music, and then after that we're going to continue hearing from the powerful women who are gracing this occasion for us.
So let's start off with health. How do we define health? Well, in fact, the World Health Organization have the best definition. And they say health is not merely the absence of disease, but it is the presence of total well-being, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I like that definition because it acknowledges that we are not just one-dimensional, and that you can be healthy in your body but sick in your spirit. You can be healthy in your spirit, but not look after your body, or going great with guns in your career, but your body is not being looked after. And we need to address all of that. And I just want to say that the creation and maintenance of health is not a passive process. Once you reach adulthood, it is not something you can take for granted. It is not like lying on a raft in a river, sunbathing. That river is gently flowing in one direction, and you have to keep moving upwards to maintain your health. You can't tread water. You need to be proactive. And if I asked you the question, what is the most powerful tool that you have at your disposal to stay healthy and live a long and healthy life? I won't ask you, but some people might say, my doctor. Well, probably they wouldn't say that, but the hospital, my medical aid. But the answer, which has been proved by research again and again, the most powerful tool that you have is knowledge. And it follows that what is the most powerful tool that as a community and a nation we have in order to stay healthy is knowledge. When we look at health indicators, so health indicators are ways that we can compare the health of our nation with other countries. How do we compare Zimbabwe with Mozambique or Sweden or America? So health indicators are numbers that can do that. So for example, wow! Okay, so for example, one of the health indicators is what we call the infant mortality rate. That is the number of babies that die before the age of 1 per 1,000 live births. And when they look at all the factors that affect the infant mortality rate in a country, is it how many doctors or nurses or neonatal ICUs or drug companies or drugs are there? Almost the single biggest predictor of your infant mortality rate in your country is none of that. It is the female literacy rate, the percentage of women in your country who can read or write. So can you see the power that women have? They don't need to be doctors, they don't need to be trained, but the power that we have. Everyone in this room, just by virtue of the fact that you're here, you are a leader in one sense or the other. And can you see the power and the responsibility that we have as educators in our community? It's huge. Okay, I want to say a few words about screening. What is screening? Well, screening is when we try and detect disease that is common, and we detect it early enough so that we can cure it and make a difference. So an easier way is, I believe it's a Chinese proverb that says success is simply dealing with big things when they're still small. And it's something that's very stressful. I know many women who are too scared to go for a pap smear, too scared to go for a mammogram, and oh my gosh, too scared to go for an HIV test. Isn't that the legacy that we have of fear about this disease? And it is absolutely crazy. As someone who's worked in the epidemic since the very beginning of it, I can tell you that our biggest issue in challenging this illness of HIV is not the drugs. We have the drugs. We can give people a long, healthy life. If you are diagnosed with HIV today, and you have done it proactively and your CD4 is adequate, your life expectancy is the same as someone who is HIV negative. That is where we are. That is where the research is. If you're HIV positive, you can have a baby, not through a Caesar, through a normal delivery. You can breastfeed your baby. You can go to university. You can get married to someone who's HIV negative. And yet, we are still losing the war against this epidemic. And it's because of one thing, fear and stigma. And you know what fear stands for? Forget everything and run. Run from that test. So if I say nothing else today, I want to say to all of you here, get an HIV test. Do it every year, even if you know there's absolutely no ways you could be HIV. We need to normalize this.
Being bold for change, and we are saying Women's Month, be bold for change. As an individual, every woman has to be bold for change. And even for you as a man, you need to be bold for change to ensure that you are looking at women within your circle. What are you doing to protect them? What are you doing to celebrate them? Today, yes, we have celebrated women, but we are saying it shouldn't end today. This has to be celebrations 365 days of the year until we meet again next week. Goodbye.